Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel, and I'm reaching out to all of you beautiful souls. Hello, my name is Starlight, and here I am out here in the beautiful nature, enjoying the beautiful breeze, and I hope you're getting out in nature like Starlight is. And I'll tell you, there's no other place I'd rather be than to be outside in nature somewhere. And you know what? You can come and join Starlight. Come on, let's get out in nature together. And it is beautiful out here. Yesterday, I wanted to make a recording the other day because the animals, it was right in the same spot. It was so cool. They were doing their own orchestra of music out here. It was so funny. I was listening, like certain birds were making their sounds, and then this bird made that sound, and then that one, and then they were all like just doing their own music, and then they went around again, and it's like do 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 do. It was so beautiful. I wish I didn't have my recorder didn't have any batteries, but it was so beautiful to sorry about this. Is the lighting here just happened to change. Well, Starlight has got to get situated here. But yes, it was such a wonderful experience to listen to the animals. They were all working together, creating their own music, and they just kept on going like that over and over again. So it is so beautiful. You don't know what you're missing if you're not out in nature somewhere. And anyway, if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome, and you can find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman. Plus, you could give my videos a thumbs up, and you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't be afraid, don't be shy. Swing by and say hi to Starlight. I am so sorry. Whoop. Starlight is playing a game here of going around in circles, but now you can see my eyes. So yeah, you can stop by and say hi to Starlight by leaving me a message down below, beep beep beep, and you could share my videos with your family, your friends, a camel, and a donkey. Yeehaw. Plus, you could check out my playlist and follow me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. So anyway, I do love you all, and I want to say a big, huge thank you to all of you who are loving and supporting Starlight, who has subscribed to her YouTube channel, or gave me a thumbs up, or even left me a comment. Thank you. Or even if you share my videos, thank you so much. And today is I had this question. There's another question that I'm going to be making another video on, but I'm going to work on one question at a time. Is somebody asked me the other morning, Starlight, yes, are you Democratic or Republican? So now I'm going to ask you, okay, all you guys and women and guys and girls and boys, are you Democrat or Republican? And you know what? People could say what they want about Starlight, but even though I did not graduate, did not go in high school, guess what? When I was learning about it, it never made sense. I did vote when I was younger. Starlight, yeah. Do you vote now? No. No, I don't vote. It's kind of, to me, I was brainwashed thinking that that was the best thing for me to do. But I never made any sense out of whether I'm a, Republican or Democrat. Never made sense out of it. I'm like, yeah, there's things in here I agree with and want and all this, but then there's things over here. How can I just pick one? How can because there's things over here and over here. So I never understood that, like, how can I, I got this, how could I pick just one side? And then I realized that it's two sides of the same coin. And you really, so they really do all this stuff to cause a division and divide us. Another way of dividing us and separating us is by getting everybody to like pick a side on, hey, are you Democrat or a Republican? And I've had some people on this journey. They are voters, definitely. It was near voting time. I was at a library, and it didn't just happen once, and it wasn't just it was both sexes. It was a man, and I've had some rude ass people out there getting in my face about whether I vote or not. So this video is about, who did you vote for? Who did you vote for? Starlight, who did you vote for? No one. I voted for myself, really. I voted for myself. Actually, what it is, I'm all about what God is all about. That is my answer. It's not about being on that side or being on that side. It's about whatever God actually chooses, in life. So you could pick your sides, you can vote and do whatever you want. But a while back, I had people trying to force me. They were rude. They were rude. I cannot say any, I'm not gonna water it down. They were rude to me. They said what they wanted to say. They believed they had every right to try to force me to go out and run out there and make that vote. Why would I, this is what they've done to people, is to get us to have that war, yelling back and forth. And I see stickers. I love reading stickers on people's cars. Not all the time. There's sometimes we see stickers that, I don't like. But, like I seen a sticker today is, war is not the answer. War is not the answer. So if you're all about having a war, that is not the answer. Make love instead of war. There a lot of people, they said a lot about the hippies a long time ago. Before I was born, I thought I was supposed to have been with that group of people there in Woodstock, New York. Well, it wasn't actually Woodstock, but, a lot of people know about Woodstock. It's all these people coming together, and they just wanted love and peace in the world. They didn't, it was a lot going on in their lifetime, and that's what we need. We need peace in the world. Not to look for an argument, not to look for a fight like these people, a man and a woman, not just, it happened like 3 times where I had really pushy people, forceful people, trying to get me to go out. Like, I had a YouTube channel, and this lady is like, oh, you gotta vote for the women, you have a YouTube channel, this lady, and she's like going on and on and on and on. I don't even keep track of it. So I don't vote for many reasons. Number one, we've been lied to about with the history. They've caused the war a long time ago. That's when I gave up on. I'm like, when I was hearing and learning what the truth really was, that they were actually the ones that was starting the war for us. And then they, and then all that gets hush hush and put away, and, and now it's like a no, they act like that never happened, so I am all about what God wants. And there's a lot of laws out there I don't agree with. I just mentioned to somebody the other day, there's man's laws and then there's God's laws. So are you the type of person, because the government comes up with a new law, what if, okay, just say what if, like during COVID time, say what if another pandemic comes, and of course they're going to say it's worse than the first one. And a lot of people, I talk to a lot of people on this journey, and I get a lot of different bits and pieces of information from, other people, bringing that topic up, so I've heard a lot of different people's, input on this topic. So I believe they created, this stuff, but at the same time, it could have been already here, and then blow it out of proportion and get everybody, putting fear out there in the world. And there's people still today that are wearing masks. So if there was another pandemic like COVID, but of course worse, is if they made a law and said, hey, you got to take that injection. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? We need to think about these things. We need to be prepared for these things. This video here is not to scare you, but to get you prepared for the, things that are going to come. But we got to be prepared in how we're going to handle it and how we're going to respond to those things. Are you going to just go and do what everybody else wants you to do? Because that is what their plan is, to scare the heck out of you, like they did with COVID. And to me, it was a big test to find out who's gonna be the ones running out there, and who's the ones that are gonna stay firm and not take the injection. What was that? Starlight. Yeah. Did you take the injection? No, absolutely not. I was kind of. Starlight did not like watching the news at all. But at that particular time, I was with a male friend at that particular time when COVID was coming out. And that person was really into watching the news. First thing that person got to his house, the news went on, and I was kind of like forced to hear it when I was at his house. I didn't want to hear about it. And there was a lot of other people that I met that was the same way. They were addicted to the news. They couldn't wait to hear, because they were in the fear zone, not in the fear. They didn't even realize how they were, how that fear really pushed them. Where there's some people like, they would go shopping and get their food, bring it at their house, bought so much Clorox bleach wipes, and would wipe every single container down or anything that they got from the store. Would go and order coffee at Dunkin' Donuts and witness some scary stuff to them. And it is kind of weird, because some people were not thinking. They were handling people's drinks and putting their hands right on the part where your mouth would go. So this person was totally freaking out over the virus. So, you got to really figure out what you believe. And just because, and this is what happens a lot of times, we are around people and we hear what everybody else says and what everybody else thinks. You don't have to follow the crowd. You could stand alone in this. You don't have to follow what everyone else is doing. You got to, I am so surprised though. My whole entire family, not that they all didn't take the injection, is that nobody wanted to take the injection. Some of them, they were pressured so much that they did take the injection eventually. And but other ones, well, yeah, I don't know how many of them. 1, 2, 3, I think maybe 4 or 5 of my family members that eventually did end up taking the injection for one reason or another. So, and hey, that's your free will. But for Starlight, the reason I didn't take that injection is because I was watching the news with my old friend of mine before, and where at first they didn't even have anything for us, and then it just came out of the blue, out of nowhere. It's like, wow, that was awfully. I didn't think, in my mind I was thinking it's gonna take them a long time to find like an injection to make that work. How are they gonna test it out? Well, they did, right? They did test it out on you if you took it. So I love you. It's just I don't vote, and I am not falling for when the government comes up with a law. Do you agree with every law that the government creates? Do you believe that the government is corrupted? The God actually, we needed in the beginning is but the government is corrupt, and it's not all the laws that are made out there. Like, for instance, this is what I brought up the other day, is many states that I have traveled in, is that you're not supposed to sleep in your car overnight or even live in your car. Well, that car I own. That car is paid for. God gave me that car. The land is the people's, it's not the government's. So who could tell why can they tell me that, hey, you're not allowed to do this, Starlight? I've had officers tell me, hey, in this state here, you're not, they got a law that you're not allowed to live in your car. What if some emergency happened and I had to stay in my car? And that's happened on this journey where my car broke down, at a park, you know? So what? Where am I going to go? That's my vehicle. It's all paid for. So where am I supposed to go if my car breaks down? Not to even sleep in my, what am I going to live out in the streets because there's a law out there that says that you can't do that? So you got to really question. I am so sorry, this lighting is really bad here. You really got to question really what you believe. What do you believe? The person that asked me this question, some people think it's cool. They feel more like an adult because now they're like, hey, I feel like an adult, I can vote, and now I can help the world out by voting and making a change in the world by putting my my vote in. Starlight, I am so sorry because this is so bad here. Is Starlight believes, and this is my own beliefs. I am so sorry. I gotta pause. The reason I'm making this video is that it's really important. There's times that we gotta stand alone, but together in a way that we're, going in the same direction. Like, I believe in peace and love, not war. It's simple as that. Is to, we don't need to, we're supposed to be the ones controlling the government, but everything is all backwards and inside out on this 3D matrix stimulation here. So I'm making this video is because when shit hits the fan later on in the future, we need to, use our voices now while we can. Some people, they already surrendered. They already, I'm not giving up. Those are people that have given up. They need to understand that's not the right answer, is by giving up and not even being out there doing anything about it, is that we need more people to stand up and do something about it. And it's so easy to say stuff, but to actually do it is a different story, so we need to know what we believe in, and it's not like a cool thing. Hey, I'm like, there's people, my dad actually told me this my whole life. I heard this over and over again my whole life. Two things that you never want to talk about: politicians and religion. Those two things, because it starts a big freaking mess. It does. There's people that will, it's the right and the wrong, and I am gonna do what God wants me to do. I don't care what the government says. I'm not here to listen to what the government says. There's things out there, yes, that we need to, like a stop sign, okay? If there's a stop sign, yes, we should stop because, we can get killed or other people can get hurt. So yeah, there are things out there that we should go by to help us out. But to force like an injection on our bodies, this is my body, and there's other people that would also about like wearing a seatbelt, whether you should wear a seatbelt or not. If you don't wear a seatbelt, your time is your timing. Whenever God takes you out of here, it doesn't have to be, in a car accident without having a seatbelt. It doesn't have to be because of COVID comes. When it's your time, it's your time. If you're meant to be here, you'll be here. There's many people I've met on this journey that they've gotten some crazy, I just met a guy today that didn't have a leg. He's still here. He's here for a reason, So you don't want to live in fear and always what if, but I'm not saying to not have your seatbelt on, but you got to be wise and not, like having people control you and go against your free will. God gave us a free will. We need to stand up for that free will that we have and not let others to overtake us, by that. And we do need to use our voice. We need to say what we believe, speak our truth. Now, you can either be a part of the problem or be a part of the solution. And some of you think, by voting. Well, what if you did your votes, but no matter if you voted or not, they already got it all figured out. They already got it planned. It's already planned ahead of time, like who's already going to be the president. It's a game. It's a trick. It's a fucking, you know, it's a way to start problems. It did. It started problems when Trump became president. Wow, you know, you got some people that loved it, some people that hated it, you know, people that want to kill Trump. So, you know, this is what they've done. This is what they've created. You got to wake up to really what is going on. And some people think, hey, by me following the politicians and all this stuff, it makes me a smarter person. You know, it makes me be more of an adult. Well, if you're deceived in thinking that we do have rights to vote, which we do, you know, they made us fight for those votes too, and make it sound like it's so important that we got to vote. It was all set up from the start. You know, women didn't have rights for voting for a while. You know, different. You know, so after a while, people started getting more rights for voting, but it was all set up from the beginning, is to get people drawn in. You know, like if I, just like a child, the more you say no to a child, the more they want, you know, the more, that is the, you know, everything's backwards, twisted upside down. So be careful of, you know, the laws that they create. Is that a law? Are you gonna just, hey, government said, like in the Bible times, there was shit going on in the Bible times. Like if the government, like in some areas in the world, do this, you got a choice. Are you going to do that or not? If I had more than one baby, you know, say if they do, I'm not sure, I'm not going to, I don't know if it was China or where it is, but certain countries, it's like, hey, if you know, like, we'll have more boys, but if it's a girl or if it's a boy, you know, if you ended up giving birth, like for people that are not in those countries, and you have a baby, are you going to let the government destroy your baby because the government said, hey, you know, because if it was a girl, she'll be able to bring out more babies in the world. And you know, a lot of people in this world don't want more people. They want to, you know, control the population by just, you know, ruining it for people and ending people's lives one way or another to, you know, get those numbers down. Believing that, you know, we're only supposed to have a certain amount of people in the world to live, whether that's true or not. If you were a lady, or even if you were a husband and your husband and wife, and your wife ended up having a baby, but you were in a country and they said, hey, you're not going to have that baby. We're going to kill it. You're not going to, what would you do if somebody found out that your wife was pregnant? Are you going to, you know, to me, get that blanket out of there, you know, hide, do something, you know. I would not let somebody come and take my baby away if I was with child, and to have a government say, hey, is that godly? You know, you gotta really ask yourself, do you agree with all the laws out there that they create? So be wise. I'm only preparing you for the future, not to scare you, but that's why we have to learn not to be afraid to speak up. That's why we have to learn not to be afraid of who you really are, not to be afraid to express yourself, not to be afraid to say what's on your mind. There, you know, we've been all lied to and programmed to believe in a certain way and conditioned to believe that, hey, we're not supposed to speak up. I was in a cult church. Guess what? I got in so much trouble because I said something that was going wrong in the church, and I got attacked by the pastor, not knowing the women didn't have a voice. They weren't allowed to use their voice because it was a cult church. If they had something to say, they had to talk to their so-called husband, and I say so-called husband because I wasn't legally married to that man, is that I would have to go to him and let him handle it. The women had no rights to speak and use their voices. So that is why we need to be wise in what we're doing, and what, you know, what, don't follow the crowd. Don't go along and do what everybody else is doing, because that is a trap. So I love you so much. And you gotta be wise. This is not to scare you, it's to prepare you to, you know, use your rights now. Use your voice. Start telling your family, you know, you don't have to be rude or whatever to get your point across. But if somebody's forcing you, you know, and controlling you, you know, using force, there's so many ways that people use force, you know, like what they were doing with the injection, trying to force people to take that injection. Are you just going to let people run over top of you, or are you going to say, no, I am not? And I'd rather pay the consequences. Okay, I am not. Do whatever you have to, because I'm not going to do that. You know, and it's a test, really. They do this with the law. If somebody did some kind of crazy thing out in the community, and it was the first time that anybody ever did that, they want to make an example of that person, and by punishing it and punishing that person and putting them in the news and broadcasting it, whether it's even real or not, whether it's true or false, they want to do this to put that fear out there, to scare the blank out of you, so then nobody would ever do that again. And that's the same shit that's going on today. It's no different with the COVID. Is trying to scare people and trying to, you know, control you. So don't let other people control you. Let love guide you, not fear. Don't, you know, these are the things that you got to be aware of and be wise. I love you so much. This is Starlight. You can give this video a thumbs up. You could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, you can leave me a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. And I have to say, when it comes to leaving me a message, lately it's been one brave person that's not afraid to use their voice by inspiring me. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. You know, and that is the thing. That person is being brave, not caring what other people think, by leaving Starlight a comment. By leaving a comment on YouTube channels that are really out there, people are putting their heads out on the line. This is what we need, is the people to inspire the people that are putting their heads out there, helping people. Are we perfect? No. But we're out here doing something about it. We're not actually in our shell and just staying quiet, you know, like a lot of people would like us to. No, I'm here because God is using me here to help other people. So thank you for the ones that do leave me a comment. You know, there's people that say, I'm your friend, Starlight. Well, where are you, right? Where are you? You know, that's why it's so important. Don't fall for all that shit when people say, I'm your friend, Starlight. Well, I haven't seen you around, you know? So that is why it's so important to listen to your intuition. Let your intuition be your guide. I love you so much, and you can also check out my playlist, and you can find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that's Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. I love you all. And those of you that are there loving and supporting me, thank you. Whether you subscribe or like my videos, you know, and this is what it's about. It's about helping each other along on this journey. And I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight, love, light, and peace.